Hi guys, it's Anne's here. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm just going to wait a minute or so just to see if anyone else is joining us in the live stream. And then I'll just start to introduce the class a little bit. But this is of a yin-yang flow. So if you have a bolster, one of these guys, or some cushions, that would be really useful for the yin part at the beginning. So don't worry if you don't have the proper kind of kit in terms of having a bolster. You can just use a couple of cushions together. So just making sure you've got what you need. Also, if you need to get cozy, maybe get some jumpers, some socks. I'm actually going to put my socks back on. I've been warming up, having a little bit of a play in the studio, which is so nice to have the space to myself. But I also miss all of you guys being in the studio. But yeah, I've had a little bit of a flow already, which has been lovely. We're going to flow together in a second. So just making you've got all the things that you need to stay warm. As the yin part of the practice, we hold the poses for kind of 2 to 3 minutes, maybe slightly longer on a couple of poses. And the idea is we work into the fascia and the connective tissue, so deeper into the body. And those tissues take longer to open up and to expand and to find new space in them. Whereas the yang part of the practice, the flow, we move through the poses quicker in more of a fluid manner because those muscles open out a lot easier and a lot quicker, like elastic bands. We've got hello. Hi, Catherine. Welcome back. If anyone else wants to say hello in the little chat bar. I love it. It's always nice to see there's humans out there rather than me just looking at this screen. Hope you're doing well, Catherine. And by all means, if anyone has any injuries, let me know. Just put a little comment in the chat bar also. And I can respond to it in the way that we move, the way that we flow through the body. Okay, so I think it's probably about time to get started. So if you've only just joined now, I know a few more people have just joined in. We're going to be using a bolster. It's like a drum. No, a big bolster, or a couple of cushions for our practice today. It's going to be yin-yang. So just finding a comfortable seat. I like to straddle over the bolster. It helps with my lumbar spine, the lower back. And just check that you're not kind of arching in your back, particularly as women, we tend to do this. Can you just have a very slight engagement? And then the ribs are kind of knitting in. Roll shoulders up towards ears and down the back. Nice. And then just take a few moments to see if you're comfortable in this position, because in a sec, we'll go into some breathing together. And we're going to do that seated. So I'll explain the class as you're just playing around and figuring, is there somewhere I need to kind of shift and shuffle before we start? So as always, I love to theme my classes. And we're working through the yamas, which are kind of personal development kind of cues that were given to us through the sutras, through Patanjali. And on this week, we're working on aparigraha, which means non-attachment or not coveting something, or not trying to feel possessive over a certain person or a certain thing, or about how we want ourselves to look or to be. And when I was planning this class last night by my fire with candles on, it was really lovely. The words that came to me, and we're going to use these words as an affirmation in our practice, they were, this body is magnificent, but it's not all that I am. And this kind of has 2 levels. The first level is your body is incredible. It can help you do yoga. You can talk with your body. You can walk. You can eat. You can sing. You can dance. There's so many amazing things to celebrate about your body. So in the practice, don't get too attached to it looking a certain way, to it feeling a certain way, or being able to do everything that I do exactly as I do it. So that's kind of the first level, is to celebrate your body, aparigraha, non-attachment to the outcome. And the second part of it, which I think for me is really important when it comes around this question of body image and finding acceptance in your body, is knowing that there's something more than just the body. So yes, the body is magnificent. It can do all these things, but it's not all that you are. There's so many things that you are beyond the physical layer, beyond those desires to have a certain thing which you think will make you happy, maybe a material possession or maybe a personality trait. Beyond all of that, any person in this world is perfect, is enough. And it's just remembering that and letting go of trying to be something else and realizing what you already are. So that's the theme of this class, which you can tell I probably feel quite passionately about. So we're going to start the yin practice, which will be the first half, and then we'll move into yang. And before all of that, I hope you found a comfortable seat to start with. I'm going to take my hands down onto my knees and then soften down the eyes. And you can use a mudra if you're working with one already, or if you'd like guidance, you can bring the pointer finger and thumb together to join. The other 3 fingers are straight. And if it doesn't feel quite right to have the hands facing down, if you feel like you want to open up a little bit through the chest, then turn the palms to face upwards. But if you feel like you need some grounding, if the mind's a bit busy or you've been running about today and just need to come in and center to one place, then hands facing down can often help encourage this sense of arriving into the moment and being a little bit more firmly rooted here, rather than leaning into the to-do list of the future or kind of lingering in any past experiences or thoughts. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Take 2 more of these in your own time. And on the exhale, really think of letting go of any tension. Whether that's physical or emotional, let it all go. And now relax your jaw, soften the brow, even loosen the muscles around the eyes, those micro muscles. Allow the tongue to relax in the lower palate of the mouth. And just slightly open the mouth, very slightly, and start to breathe in and out of the mouth. And notice the sensation of air on the tongue. Does it feel cool, calming? As you slow down the inhale, does the sensation on the tongue change at all? And the exhale is a little bit more free. Maybe the mouth widens a little, the jaw drops as you kind of release tension. But the inhale, we're paying attention to the sensation of the breath on the tongue. Three more breaths in this way, trying to really slow the breath down. Really paying attention to sensation helps us notice what's happening here now. And then release that breath, close the mouth and breathe in and out of the nostrils. allowing the breath to step back into a natural rhythm. And we'll start to bring a count into our breath just to elongate the exhales, to tap into our parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest, which automatically calms the mind, so we find it a little easier to rest into our yin postures. So with me now, take a deep inhale through the nose to prepare, and sigh it out through the mouth on the exhale. And we'll breathe in and out of the nose here, mouth closed. Inhaling for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, internal count, really swelling the belly. Exhale, 6. Inhale, 4. Exhale, 6. And continue to breathe in for 4 and out for 6. And if the pace is a little slow, then you can speed up the count a little. So the aim isn't to match the rhythm that I've set, but to find your own rhythm with the guidance that's given. And if the breath feels restricted or you're gasping for air, then just pause. Allow yourself to drop into a natural rhythm and then start again. Start afresh. Breathing in for 4. Really allowing the belly to swell, give it permission to be full. And then exhaling any physical or mental tension to 6. In for 4, out for 6. Really nice, you've got this. Taking one more round. At the end of this final round, then just drop back into that rhythm of breath. And just take stock of whether you were able to keep focused on your breath, or did your mind still kind of scurry off a little? Both of those things are natural and welcome. Just be the observer and notice, what is the quality of your mind today? Is it more alert today? Is it more busy? Or does it feel more relaxed than yesterday? Often we come to a practice of yoga or breathing or meditation with an expectation to progress. However, we are different on each and every day. The progression is by not attaching to how we feel and letting it be as it is. A parigraha, non-attachment to the outcome. And then starting to take the hands to the center of chest and rubbing the palms together. Cupping the palms over the eyes and start to open the eyes very gently behind the hands. And then separating the fingers to welcome light in and lowering the hands into the lap. Beautiful. So we're going to come into our first yin pose, and we'll find a child's pose. Often you hear child's pose in a class and you're very familiar with it, but could you approach it in a different way today? So if you have a bolster, I love to straddle the bolster and take my arms out in front to create length through the spine, all the way up through the cervical spine to crown of head. There's also the option to take the bolster in front. And you can have your belly resting down onto the knees and take the bolster so the head kind of hangs down a little bit. Maybe it comes down to the floor, but you're getting more opening underneath the shoulders. And if you don't have a prop or wouldn't like to use one, you can open the legs wide and thread the hands between the knees. This is more of a restorative version. As you lower your forehead, it gets more into the inner groin muscles here. So just take some time to find your version of the pose. And there's 3 stages to our yin practice. We first play around with our edge. So find the edge of resistance, then ease off. There's no need to force it too deep, because the next stage is to commit to the stillness, surrender to gravity, and hold for time as you deepen with breath and gravity, going more inwards. And just repeat those words to yourself internally, or maybe you verbalize it out loud. My body is magnificent, but I am more than that. My body is magnificent, but I am more than that. And then notice what arises in you. Are these words met with kindness, with open arms, or do they feel unwelcome or maybe slightly odd? Neither is right nor wrong, it just is. And if you'd prefer to just stay with the breath and notice the subtle undulation of the belly as you breathe in and out. And really releasing any of that drawing in from the abdomen. Any tightening, let it be loose, free, hang heavy. 3 more deep breaths here. Making every inhale and every exhale mean something. So really creating space for acceptance on the inhale and letting go of something on the exhale. And then on your next inhale, stay as you are, but mentally prepare to move. As you exhale, start to ease out, coming towards a tabletop position. It doesn't really have to be perfect alignment here. Just find a comfortable kind of shape where you can start to wiggle through the hips a little. Maybe wagging your tail side to side or tucking under into more of a cat-cow shape. Really lovely. And just stay as you are, working through the body, and I'll introduce our next pose. So our next pose is melting heart. So you can kind of guess that the heart is coming down towards the mat, also known as puppy dog in our yang practice. So if you tuck your toes under, it helps engage the lower abdomen. And just take a look at the screen if you're not already looking. We're trying to avoid the dipping down of the belly here. So we're going to come into the pose, but rather than dipping down, can you keep that alignment along the spine? So belly button draws in, and there's a slight kind of, I'll show my fingers, tilt down towards the heels with the sit bones. So kind of moving downwards with the sit bones. And then we start to come forwards onto the elbows. You can stay here and take a cushion, a book, bolster to the head. Or if you're open in the shoulders, you can come all the way down. Remember, we'll stay here for kind of 2 minutes. And again, we're not dipping down in the belly like I'm demonstrating here, sticking the bum up towards the sky. We're tucking the tailbone under posterior tilt to create length through the spine. Almost like this kind of slide in a straight line. So take your time to find your way there. You may need a blanket underneath the knees. Really lovely. And then first stage, play around with your edge, the edge of resistance. And then we'll commit to the stillness and hold for about 2 minutes this time. And as the heart melts down, start to tune into that space, the center of the chest, and maybe asking the question inwards, what part of me most needs accompanying right now? So we're using the theme of a parigraha, noticing that you are so much more than what you can see. But is there a part of you that needs accompanying to find that inner beauty? To realize that you already are enough? Is there something that needs to be heard? Whatever comes up, welcome it with a smile and send your breath there.
3 more deep breaths. Making every breath have meaning, have purpose. By being present and living in the breath. On your next inhale, stay as you are, but mentally prepare to move. As you exhale, maybe the elbows support as you slowly lower yourself down onto your belly. Elbows out to the side, create a pillow as a forehead, for your forehead with both hands, one on top of another. And then allow the heels to fall out to the sides, which creates more space in the lower back, the lumbar spine, and maybe you wiggle the hips slightly. Just noticing if there's any tension or any catching in that last pose. And then find stillness, breathe deep. And just lie on the belly for a second and feel as the belly moves the lower back up and down with the breath. On your next inhale, start to lift up and slide that right arm forwards. Use the left hand to turn you all the way over onto the right hip. So that hand can be in front, or you can bend the lower knee. As we'll lift the top leg, bend into the knee. It doesn't matter right or left, just remember which side. And you can bring the heel towards the sit bones, and maybe you grab and just find a nice hip flexor stretch here. Again, not arching through the spine. The openness is coming in the hamstrings rather than the back. So can you engage the glutes and press forwards through the hips? Draw the belly in, trying to keep the ribs in line with the hip bones rather than flaring them out forwards. And you can also have the head down, that feels nice. Exhale, release the bind of the leg, coming onto your belly, and then rolling over onto the opposite side. Same as before, lifting the top leg, bending the knee, and then first, before you kick into the leg, check that the spine is in one line, draw the lower belly in, and then engage slightly through the glutes and press that hip forwards. Bending in the bottom knee helps to stay balanced. If you want a little bit more work, straighten the bottom leg. Then you have to engage the core a little bit more to stay there. Lovely. Exhale, lower back down on the belly. I'm going to do a funky little transition. Thread the right arm under and then start to open out so you come onto your back. You're going to come off your mat like me, so shimmy your hips back onto the mat. And we're going to come through our bridge pose here. So setting up for your bridge, knees are bent, knees in line with the hips. And some people guide that you can bring your heels in as much as you can tickle them with your fingertips, but for some people in the kind of complexity of the knee joint, that might not feel so good. So just play around with where it feels good to put your feet. And then as you start to press down into the shoulders and press down into the feet, start to lift the hips up on an inhale. And then exhale, lower them back down.
Tuck chin in towards chest. Inhale, lift the hips for 4, 3, 2, 1. Belly button in. Exhale, lower for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lift for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower for 4, 3, 2, 1. Introducing the arms as we lift them overhead, as we lift hips for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower hands, lower hips for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, arms and hips lift. 2, 1. Exhale, hands lower, hips lower. 3, 2, 1. Continuing as I talk. So just lifting up for 4 and lowering for 4. There's the option for the last 3 rounds that you do to lift for 4 and lower for 6. So if you'd like to join on that, then coming to the mat now to join with me. And we'll start lifting for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more. Inhale, lift, engage the glutes. 2, 1. Exhale for 6, lowering down. 3, 2, 1. Last one, let's slow the count very slightly, lifting for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. We're milling the knees side to side ever so slightly. Almost kind of rocking the sit bones, the lower back, as we've kind of started to warm it up a little bit. And then bring both knees into chest. We'll stay with that rocking. And then start to lift the legs a little to help get some momentum. And we're going to rock all the way up to a seat. If you have any back issues, then just roll to one side and lift up. Otherwise, we'll lift the body up. And when we arrive, start to straighten the legs. Great stuff. You may want to pull your sit bones out a little. If you flex the feet, it helps engage the thighs. And by engaging the thighs, there's this agonist and antagonist relationship where we'll open out the back of the hamstring a bit. Take the hands to the mat if they reach and pull forward. So you're keeping that length in the spine. So rather than rounding forwards, we're pulling. If it's hard to reach the floor, you can do your hands on your knees, keeping the body at an angle. When you start to round in like this, just ease off and sit more upright. If it's comfortable for you to slide the hands towards the ankles, go for it. But no, we're not crunching down. We're not coming downwards. We're looking to pull the heart forwards and beyond the feet, with spine still in one straight line. Drishti, or focal point, is beyond the toes, beyond your physical body, to something greater than just what you see. Inhale to lift up out of that, bringing the right knee in as you do so. And then just start to take the right knee in and out towards the outer edge and then the inner side of the mat. Maybe you lift the heel and just take some circles into that hip. And then we'll scoop the knee as we open out into a Janu Shirshasana leg. So it's like your tree pose, but sitting down. And twist your torsos over the straightened leg. So heart in line with the toes, and start to creep forward once more. So we're working into the groin here on the bent knee leg and into the hamstring on the other leg. Flexed foot on that leg, engaged through the thigh. Inhale as you lift up, keep legs as they are. Right arm behind, same arm as bent leg. Press through the feet as you lift into your gate pose. Nice. Circling that top arm a couple of times. Exhale to lower sit bones down. Hand scoops that right knee in, straighten the leg. And we'll go straight away and bend into the opposite knee now, finding some openness. So just swaying that leg side to side. Maybe you lift the heel. And then start to scoop on the outside of that knee and twisting so the heart is in line with the toes on the straightened leg. Flex the toes and start to creep forwards. Really nice. Again, drishti beyond the toes. Inhale to lift up. So I'm just gradually taking my clothes off. Take the left hand behind, same hand as the bent knee. Lift up into your gate pose once more, Padagasana. Exhale to lower back down. Scoop that knee in, straighten the leg. One more on either side. Bend into the knee. This time let's open out straight away. Take the right arm behind. Lift through the hips. Lift up through that top arm. And then can you lift the straightened leg? There's the option to stay here. Engage through the glute on the bent knee, the supporting leg. Then bend that top leg and maybe you find that hip flexor stretch once more. Press hips forward, gaze up or maybe down towards the floor. Can you lift up out that shoulder? Exhale, release, lower the foot down. Taking the hips down towards the mat. Bring that right knee in and then step it over the straightened leg and we'll just find a gentle Marichiyasana twist. So scooping the left hand around the right knee as you twist inwards and around. Inhale, that back arm sweeps up and over. Lifting that right knee into chest, straighten off. Same as before, so bend into left knee, externally rotate through hip, finding our Padagasana gate pose. Left hand comes to mat, press through the hips, lifting up. Can you elevate the right leg? Maybe you bend into that knee and find the bind. Engage slightly through glutes, press hips forward. Exhale, release that leg, lowering down. As you scoop that left knee in, taking it over the straightened leg, we'll find a twist. So right arm twists in to around the bent knee, left arm behind. Really lovely. Exhale, release. Keep that leg as it is. We're going to do a funky transition here. So we're just going to use that leg to help us twist all the way around into a tabletop. So if that looked a bit too funky for you today, then just come into a tabletop facing the top of your mat. And we'll start to come into more of a wild cat. So our traditional cat-cow is when we exhale and arch everything in and then inhale. Pull the heart through the collarbones and up towards the sky. For this version, I invite you to close your eyes and start to feel into where the body wants to go. So maybe the hips want to move a little bit more. Maybe you take the hands further forwards. How does it feel? Really nice. And then coming through your tabletop once more, tuck the toes so you engage the lower abdomen. Then bring the elbows to where the hands were. A kind of more subtle version of puppy dog, or maybe you slide the arms forwards, coming into more depth in your puppy dog. Melting heart pose. As you inhale, look forward, still engaging through the belly button, lifting out of the shoulders, not sinking in. Come onto your belly.
Take the hands further forwards. We're not finding sphinx. Elbows are further forward than the knees. Bend into the left knee, gaze over the shoulder to look. Inhale through the center, bend into the right knee, gaze over right shoulder. One more either side. Inhale, looking forwards. Exhale, twisting to look behind. Engage the glutes. Inhale, forwards. Exhale, the other side. Inhale, forwards. Exhale, hands come under shoulders. Press back into a child's pose. So we're only going to stay here as a transition, so no need to take any props with you. Inhale to look up, and then start to rise up onto your knees. Lift the arms up overhead when you get there. Grab onto the left wrist with right hand, then just pulling over towards the right. Inhale through the center, swap the bind. It doesn't matter which way you went before, but relax the shoulders on the exhale. On the inhale, find length through the crown of the head, and then exhale, pulling over into the opposite direction. Inhale through the center. Exhale, lower hands down towards the mat and just start to rock backwards and forwards a few times on the wrists. And then toes are still tucked. Start to lift the knees, press through the arms, come into a downward facing dog. Pedaling through the heels here, just waking up through the calf muscles. Are you still present with the breath? Or are you still chasing memories or second guessing the future? Knowing it's completely natural if the mind's drifted, just use the breath to anchor you back into your body right now. And still finding that softness in knees, start to walk the feet towards the hands at the top of the mat. And when you reach the top, hands take a clasp behind the head. Knees are bent. Maybe the belly starts to drape over the thighs. And maybe you sway here in your ragdoll. Release the hands. And then start to ripple up through the spine. So knees are bent. It helps protect any kind of catching between the vertebrae. Head is the last thing to rise. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center in prayer. Close the eyes. Engage the thighs, tuck tailbone down, that posterior tilt. It's almost like you're kind of pressing your hips forward slightly, but then ease off. Draw lower abdomen in and then lift up towards the heart space. Crown of the head reaches tall and proud. And bring to mind again those words, my body is magnificent, but I am more than that. You could even substitute, I am so much more than that. Or any other words that feel more natural to you. Again, if this isn't resonating, you can just focus on the breath in the center of the chest. And as you exhale, flutter the eyes open, hands down by the sides. We'll do a version of a vinyasa flow, starting at the top as you do with your sun salutation. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forwards at the hips, hands come down towards the earth. Inhale, hands up the shins, flat back. Exhale, root the hands to the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. So we're not going through our plank. Just pedal it out a few times, getting used to kind of stepping back into a down dog rather than a plank. Going against the grain, challenging our perceptions or our expectations. On the exhale, lower down onto the knees. Take the elbows where the hands were. We've been here before. Lower forehead to mat, puppy dog or melting heart. Inhale, look forwards, really lift up out of the shoulders, press into the elbows, engage the abdomen. There's still strength here as we pull ourselves forwards, elbows slide out, tucking the tailbone down, so pressing the pubis into the mat. As you inhale, gaze over right shoulder, bend into right knee, exhale, look forwards. Inhale on the other side, gaze over left shoulder, exhale, looking forwards. Hands come under shoulders as heart lowers down, press back, using strength in the arms and core into your child's pose. Inhale through the nose, exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Inhale, gaze forward, spread the fingertips, root through the hands as you transition through tabletop into your downward facing dog. The fingertips are spread wide to assist in the shoulders lifting up and out. There can be a deep bend in the knees if you need. Think of that length in your spine in puppy dog. We're replicating it here in down dog. End of your next exhale, bend your knees, look towards the hands and step to the top. Maybe behind the hands, maybe between. Inhale, halfway lift to flat back. Exhale to fold inwards. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side and up overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center, remembering those words of magnificence. Inhale, lift the arms up. Gaze past the fingertips beyond the body. Exhale, hinge forwards at the hips. Inhale, hands come up the shins, flat back. Tuck the chin in length in cervical spine. Exhale, root the hands, step into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, drop the knees down towards the mat. Elbows come down too as we find length in spine, puppy dog pose. If you're craving more openness, you can come onto the fingertips here to bring more stretch under the armpits. On your next exhale, reroute the elbows. Look forwards on the inhale. Pull the heart through, down onto the mat. Slide elbows forwards on the inhale. Exhale, find the depth which is comfortable for your spine. Inhale, bend into the left knee. Gaze over towards the left toe. Exhale, release, look forwards. Really pressing down through the pubic bone. Inhale over into the opposite direction, maybe the right. Exhale, look forwards. Lowering the forehead down to the mat, fingertips under shoulders, press with strength. So squeeze the triceps into the side body as you press back into your child's pose. Just a transition here. Inhale through the nose, exhale, sigh it out. Inhale to gaze forward, spread the fingers wide, Hasta Bandha, hand lock, and then lift up through the palms and shoulders into downward facing dog, legs straighten out. On your next exhale, bend the knees, look forwards and step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift to flat back, hands supported on the shins. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, sweep arms out to the side and up overhead. Stand tall, stand proud.
Exhale, Anjali Mudra, hands in prayer. Last round. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Really reach heart towards sky. Exhale, folding forward, heart guides down. Inhale, halfway lift to flat back, hands on the shins. Exhale, root the hands, step back into your downward facing dog. You know where you're going. If you'd like to go with the rhythm of your own breath, then go at your own pace. Otherwise, stay with me. Exhale, drop knees. Elbows replace hands as we lengthen through spine, puppy dog. Inhale to gaze forwards, pull heart through. Elbows in front of the shoulders, some kind of distance. As you inhale, gaze over one shoulder at the toes. As you exhale, look forwards. As you inhale, gaze over the other shoulder. Exhale, look forwards. We'll finish in our child's pose. So if you've gone a little faster, then make your way back to child's pose in your own way. Everyone just kind of re-arriving here into this pose that we started our practice in, child's pose, this resting. If this is too much on your knees to stay here any longer, then you can line your belly and create a pillow for your forehead with the hands. And if there's anything else that comes more naturally to you, you'd like to go to, then feel free to do that. From your child's pose, inhale to look forwards at the fingers. Exhale, pull through the hands, clawing at the mat as you come down onto your belly once more. We'll slide that right arm forwards and rock onto the right hip. Again, how we started the practice. Can you lift the top leg, bend into the knee, and take that hip stretch once more? And this time really breathe into the hip and notice what's changed since the practice. Does your body feel different now? Often we're trying to achieve, to progress, to succeed, and cram so much in. Sometimes we just need to strip it back to basics and appreciate what we've gained. So what have you gained in this practice so far as we return to this pose once more? Can you be grateful for that? Releasing the bind, keep that leg lifted. Remember, you can bend the bottom knee if it's a little bit wobbly. And start to circle through the ankle on the raised leg. And we'll take it onto the other side. So for you, just roll onto your belly and onto the other side. I'm going to swivel, so I'm still looking forwards at you. And lifting the top leg. You can bend into the bottom knee if you choose. Bending into the knee and the lifted leg. Maybe you find an ankle, maybe you don't, but wherever you are, just start to try and cool down the breath even more. Press the hips forward, engage the glutes if you found the bind. Then inhale, release. Toes forwards and up. So you start to circle through the ankle. Lower that leg down. And then taking it all the way onto your back. So you can just roll back onto your back. If you want to find that fun transition again, coming onto the belly, threading one arm under, and just using that to open you out. And just making your way to Shavasana, not worrying too much what I'm doing. Although I am going to show you one juicy option. You can take a bolster or cushions beneath the knees as you come back into your Shavasana pose. I love this one. You can even take your knees out to the side, so finding butterfly legs or a diamond shape. They call this Supta Konasana. And to tune into the breath, it can sometimes feel nice to bring both hands to the belly. Encourage a deeper, longer breath. And just let all the thoughts rest. They'll be there to pick up in a minute or so, but for this next minute or two, can you really indulge in your own presence? And then start to welcome a deeper breath. And to do this, we'll inhale through the nose, let the belly swell, and exhale, audibly sigh out. A few breaths in this way. The exhale really clearing out any stale air. And the inhale welcoming in new light, new breath, new opportunities, new perspectives. And the exhale just letting go, releasing anything that's unwanted. A couple more breaths in this way. And then starting to find some movement in body, maybe through fingers and toes, maybe through the neck. And drawing the knees into your chest. And swaying slightly side to side. Before you come to rest on either side, right or left. And if you'd like to stay here a little bit longer or return to your Shavasana or find some more of those juicy yin postures from the beginning, feel free to go there on your own. If you're ready to rise, then start to use hands to support as you lift into a seat, eyes still closed. There's no rush to get there, but when you do reach this upright position, take your hands into prayer at heart center. And bring to mind those words once more. My body is magnificent, but I am so much more than that. And how do those words sit with you? And however that makes you feel, Just bring to mind one thing that you're grateful for. Just one tiny thing. It could be an act of kindness from someone today. It could be the fact that you have something really yummy for lunch. And then dip your chin down towards chest, bowing down to that gratitude. And noticing that when you pay attention and you actually think about these things, there's always something to be grateful for. And then rubbing the hands together to create some heat. Cupping the palms over the eyes, feel the heat transfer through hands to face. And then start to open the fingers and lower the hands into the lap. Keep the gaze in the palms. And from here, welcome in the light in the rest of the room. Thank you for joining me, guys. It was really lovely to have you. Thanks, Catherine and everyone else. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. I'd love to see you next week. Every Tuesday we have a theme and we work through things together. I also have a 7-day meditation course, which is live on my website. And it's kind of based around this idea of always feeling like we're too much this or we're not enough that. And in all of that, there becomes this dissatisfaction with who we already are. So it kind of ties into the theme of a parigraha and being grateful for what we already have and who we are. So it's flexible pricing, so it's accessible to all. So I'd love to invite you if you'd like to join. I'll just put my handle, that's my yoga name, Anzahata. But it's anzahatayoga.com. I'll put a little link actually. Oh, thanks, Catherine. So I hope you all had a lovely day, and I also have tons of workshops coming up. Thanks, Liz, at Trika. So check on the Trika website page. And not website, workshop page, and you can join me there. Anyway, thanks, Ellie. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the themes. It's always nice having that comments. But yeah. There's more of them to come. Maybe I'll do a yin-yang workshop too. I'm going to end the talking now because some people may be wanting to rest in Shavasana, but thank you and I'll see you next week.